Thank you, Ray. Good evening, everybody. And what a enthralling encounter this could be. We've got two young men, first time here at the Crucible Theatre, at the one table stage. And when it's down to the one table stage, in my opinion, Willie, the best venue we have.
Yes, undoubtedly. I never had the pleasure of playing here on a one table situation, but this arena now looks like it's made especially for snooker. 960 odd people in this evening watching these two young men playing in their first ever World Championship final. Big test for them both.
Yes, and if that doesn't give you a little bit of nerves, nothing will. Packed to the rafters. Just what you'd be looking for. A good start, a terrific opening red from Ali. Could have done with bouncing a little bit more off the top cushion, but that would give you a feel-good factor.
Maybe worth the risk as it's first frame, taking the cut on the safety shot. Not going to get too much out of it because it's been an easy return. If the black does go in and he does get a nice cannon, could reap the rewards. He'd like to kiss the outside red of the bunch here to stay on the one just below it. He's kissed it. Unlucky.
Ali Carter 1.
And let's not forget that these two young men, of course, they've been on the two table situation. It may take them half a frame to get used to the speed. Every table plays slightly different. So both players now look like they're going to pot an opening red at their first opportunity. Can Joe Perry score a few more? Could decide to go into them here if he wants to. There's a big target to go into. I wouldn't blame him if he did. But Joe's not one of those kind of players. He tends to like to play for the loose ones. Well, he has done, and that's what I like to see players play like that. Give yourself a chance to win at one visit.
And it's worked out quite nicely. He's got a red to the right corner. Wouldn't have to do a lot with the cue ball, but took that opportunity and couldn't have hit them better and hoped for a better result.
No.
Start of this season, Joe Perry was world ranked 18, provisionally 14, but that, of course, depending on how well he does here, will be moving up a little bit. And his opponent, Ali Carter, world ranking 14, provisional 11, so there's not much to choose between them on paper. Let's hope they both play well and give us a match to remember.
17.
Yes, and because Joe Perry played so well yesterday evening in his match, he looked
24.
certainly more relaxed than you'd expect a player to look.
25.
Looks very relaxed, Joe. Didn't win many frames, John, yesterday. I had the pleasure of doing all the last 19 frames of that match against Maguire. What Joe Perry is blessed with, John, whether you agree, I'm not sure, you'll tell me in a second, is a very good match player. I tend to think sometimes break building, as he did earlier on there, he needs to go into them quicker, and you can see what happens when you go into them quick, gives you a chance. If it's an open game, you'd fancy Ali Carter maybe, but if it's a tight game, I fancy Joe Perry. I think it's hard to call.
Yeah, well, this is a match, and a lot's been forgotten about with all the talk of potting and break building, but you still need a good all-round game, and that's what you're inferring. That's what makes a good match player. Maybe errs on the side of caution. Well, that's gone a little bit awkward. Play for the blue and put for it rolled in an extra inch. Would have been on it nicely. He'll now have to play the yellow. right in the heart of the pocket. Both these players are going to bring good memories into this match. Joe Perry, of course, he's really kept himself together against Stephen Maguire. And of course, Ali Carter.
36.
What a dream it is for any player to make a maximum at the Crucible. So they've done themselves proud.
Just slightly lost position here. I don't know whether he can play the gap through the reds, or he might play a little cannon here to hold the cue ball. Different players see this kind of shot differently. Yeah, he's played a little cannon, and all he's doing now is just slowing the cue ball down, and he played it really well. He's unlucky not to be anything easier than this.
41.
Good pot. And the cue ball is going to stop on a baulk colour. Needs a good positional shot now to give him an opportunity to win the frame at this visit.
Yeah, this was his problem yesterday. He went on to win the match, Joe Perry, but I don't know whether you noticed, John, he lost 7 games from over 40 in front yesterday against Maguire. So the scoreline could have, you know, he could have won the match quite easily. I know that Maguire didn't play anything like he did earlier on in the week, but Joe kept getting 40 in front and just couldn't close the frame out early enough. Is this going to be another one of those?
46.
Well, he's not played the best positional shot. Okay, the red next to the pink. He can play into the left middle. Played the brown, just a straightforward screw off the side cushion. Just under hit it. Recover the situation well. That was a good pot and good control of the cue ball.
When players get to the semi-final of the Crucible, you'd expect a shaky start. We thought that this afternoon. Hendry made 140 first visit.
54.
This is Joe Perry's first visit ever in a semi-final at the Crucible, and he's got a chance to make a. Just as I'm going to say, got a chance to win the frame.
Joe Perry 54.
As he did yesterday, John. He keeps missing the vital ball.
Well, you called it, Willie. I didn't think you were going to be right, but I mean, he pots that red, he's perfect on the blue. They look no problems. A let-off for Ali Carter. This would hurt Joe even at this early stage if Ali could win the frame from here.
I didn't expect Ali Carter to miss that. And we know that Joe's 53 in front, and as John mentioned, red colour red's enough, but these are not the kind of reds you'd like to play every day of the week. These are a lot easier when you're kind of playing them as the first ball. When you're trying to protect a lead, these make them a little bit more tricky. It's amazing, isn't it? If that was the first shot in a break, he'd put that 9 out of 10, wouldn't he?
Well, the way he's played it, he's played to stun it in, which might have been the right shot, but he's thinking if it doesn't go in, I'll cover it with the black. And it was just that slightly negative thought. But he's not left anything easy. Well, the fact that he's going out the extended rest, is he? Surely he's not going to play the cut on this red. Oh, that was a dangerous shot to play for me. Does the yellow come to his rescue? There's the red to the right corner, but he'll be pleased he's covered that one. That one was unmissable. The one to the right corner, it's a tough shot. And of course the black won't go into the opposite corner, so a bit of work to do with the cue ball.
The shot of the frame so far. That's a frame winner, because with the red being over the corner, that was a pressure pot. So Joe Perry, in his first ever semi-final at the Crucible, looks certain to win the opening frame.
6. 7.
Well, he started off with a tremendous red, did Ali Carter, but he's not going to get anything out of this frame. 67 points to the lead now. Just 59 remaining.
14.
And in this situation, Joe Perry will be aware that if he could clear the table here, he just keeps Ali Carter off the table. Because if he was to miss now, Ali Carter would carry on because it's the first frame, and just to get some potting practice.
15.
So as a player, you're thinking, now if I can clear these, I've kept my opponent off the table.
Yeah, it's a good point that, isn't it? Because it's the first time that Ali Carter's
20.
played on a single table, and it's totally different out there. The arena, you know, you're playing in something virtually 3 or 4 times as big as you were when you first played. And Joe, as John mentioned, would be all too aware that he wants to give Ali no table time at all.
28.
I think the first thing you notice, when you're in the
39.
two-table situation, you're right on top of the table. You can sort of see every move that's being made by your opponent. But you sat a little bit further away, and sometimes you just have a completely different view of the table that you had when it was
36.
the two-table situation.
$37.
That's the sort of view that you're getting, and you don't really see what balls will go and if there's any plants on, which, as I say, when you sat closer
42.
you feel more involved. It just takes a little bit of getting used to. The best way to get used to it, of
44.
course, is when you're at the table potting balls. And Joe Perry's doing plenty of that.
$47. $51. $56. On the frame.
Well, not bothered about the black. Finished off with a 62, started with a 54. He'd be pleased with that. He takes the first frame. Joe Perry leads 1-0.
That's what it's all about. You got to take it. I mean, you don't know how many times you're going to be here, so when you get here, you want to win.
Yes, I agree with the boys that Ali Carter did look a little bit shaky, but Joe Perry appears to have settled immediately.
Pretty good break-off shot. Found the baulk cushion. As you can see, the green's covering any path back to baulk. There's the red down the right-hand side of the table. He can just get past the brown. I suppose he could play the pot, and if it doesn't go in, he'll bring the cue ball to the top cushion and reasonably safe. The only red he could leave, he'll be feeling, is the one he's playing. Well, he nearly got the double kiss.
John and I are both big fans of football, and we've got 3 great footballers in tonight, and I'm sure sometime during the evening we'll show them. And there's Mark Crosley, who's been a great goalkeeper for Nottingham Forest, and funny enough, Matt Letizia, one of the best penalty takers of all time, and he ever missed 1 penalty in his career. And he was the goalkeeper, Mark Crosley. We had a couple of lads in earlier on, Mel Sterling and Imri Varadi, Sheffield Wednesday. They're around somewhere. We'll pick them up a little bit later. 1. Got a lot of celebs here over the years, and it is a great place to come and watch snooker. As we see the double disappear, and you'll be a little bit disappointed he overskewed the cue ball, so the black's not on.
Ali Carter 1.
Yes, the 2 guys you just mentioned. The problem is sometimes you invite them down, you put them in the press box, and you're so close to the players, you're frightened to breathe, you know. I was talking to David Lynn, the European Tour golfer, and he said exactly the same. So they probably put them in the press box and decided to watch it from the players' lounge rather than sit there and feel as though they're unable to make a move.
Just brushed by the pack, which normally you'd be worried about, but there's nothing potable. Ali may take this red on and play for the blue, the one in baulk. If there's no double on or cut into the middle, he can play the red next to the yellow as a shot to nothing. He can spin it around 3 cushions, but it looks like he's found a pot. Or not. I'm surprised he's not even looked at the one next to the yellow. That surprises me, this shot.
Well, he's got the snooker, and just basically coming off the right hand side cushion, which looks the obvious way, he would leave something. So he's now coming off the bottom cushion, side cushion, and into the cluster.
Yeah, that's the reason, John, that I thought Ali was worth taking the risk on the shot to nothing. Well, there's 2 players playing for the first time in a semi-final of the world, and straight in front of them that have been looking at the trophy for the first time, and that's out there for both of them to look at now. Obviously won last year by John Higgins, and there it is. That's what we've all dreamed about. Not many have had their hand on it. The 2 players in the other semi-final have had it on 7 occasions. There's Stephen Hendry, 7 times champion. Ken Doherty, John Higgins, Stephen Hendry again. Will one of these 2 players at the table, John, get their name on that trophy?
Well, if you're in it, you can win it, and they're still in it. This frame just taking a bit of a tactical turn. No safety back in the baulk end. So just playing back to this top cushion. The only thing is with this shot, you've got to get it tight, the cue ball. Because if you leave your opponent so he can get his cue down below the centre of the cue ball, obviously he has an easy task of trying to get the cue ball back. And obviously if you could, you'd like to nestle up behind the blue.
This is not easy to get safe now, with the cue ball being near the cushion. You have to really high up with his cue to try and screw back to the cushion. This is what he's trying to do. He's using the other red as a stopper. He'd like to bring the cue ball back in between black and blue. And that's a very, very good shot.
Yes, that's as good a shot as you could have played in that situation. A little tap on the table there from Joe Perry. He realised how difficult that was. But he didn't get the cue ball tight on the top cushion, so he's got a chance to bring it back. Now you can see the way these reds are spreading out all over the table, that the next chance could be a costly one. And as you see, he's striking down. The white's automatically going to bounce, so to judge it that well after hitting the red to screw back to the top cushion, excellent shot. I used to hate these frames, you know, really, didn't you? It was just one of those that you can keep playing safe and all of a sudden you force your opponent into playing some pot in the middle pocket. Hello, middle pocket. I think it'll be Joe Perry with the first chance. He might not be able to get through to it direct, but he should be able to play one onto the other.
It's one of those, John, if he has to play one onto the other, he's going to have to hit the red on the pocket half ball. There's a slight possibility. Here we are on Hawkeye. He could probably swerve and hit it. I don't think he can see it direct.
Well, Hawkeye says he can, and I've not known Hawkeye be wrong.
Good old Hawkeye here.
1.
Well, he didn't make the best job of it. The reason I say that cue ball shouldn't have been as close to the cushion as this. Brown looks the obvious ball to play, but it's tricky, as is yellow.
Yes, amazingly enough, he hit too much of the red. If he'd have hit the red as thin as he perhaps thought he would do, that cue ball wouldn't have hit the jaws of the corner pocket, and the white would have been open play. So this is really tough. This is, well, 60-40 potting this. And it was the 60. Very, very good pot. Very good pot. They're horrible.
5. Six.
Just having to use his extension here, and I'm still uncomfortable. The 3 reds along the back. Doesn't want to make a contact on the middle one, purely because it's not bound to leave the reds easy. If you can just run through on and off the cushion without touching the reds, that's what he'd like to do. He was always taking a chance what was going to happen, but it was a better way to play position.
He struggled in though, didn't it? It didn't go right in the middle of the pocket.
8.
Mainly because I feel he was overstretching.
9.
It's going to be difficult to win this on yellows and browns. He needs to think about coming up this end and playing for the black. That will soon start rattling the points up.
11.
Yeah, we've had the maximums. I mean, okay, he's taking the brown. The minimum break. 15 reds, 15 yellows, and all the colours.
12.
The yellow's certainly, excuse me, the easier way to get onto the top reds at this end, but he's going to get rid of the one remaining loose red, I think, in the balk area before he starts to come up for business. And no, it's okay now. He'd love to get onto the black now, and then he can start thinking about winning the frame at one visit with some high valued colours. I don't know whether the pink pot's in the left hand corner. It doesn't appear to from here. No, he's just got to be careful now,
70.
because these reds, the next 4 reds and 4 pinks and blacks should be straightforward, which would put him best part of 50 in front again. The pink not available, so once he gets rid of the reds either side of the pink, it will be.
Yeah, but at least he's accumulating
24.
points a bit quicker now, isn't he? Bringing the black into play. I said that whoever made the first mistake could be costly, and it's certainly looking that way.
25.
Just the start that Joe Perry was looking for.
$32. $33. $40. $41.
Well, needs that to travel a little bit to make sure he's on it into the corner. The pink and red, I'm not too
48.
sure whether either will pot. There must be a place where he can pot the red. Yes, I think the red will go, so he can play the half ball black and then get the cue ball on the same side as he is now, but a little bit higher up for that red. Oh, he's done it again, John.
Joe Perry,
He did
48.
it so many times yesterday, it's frightening.
Yeah, a little bit of movement there, I thought. Just jabbed at that somewhat. But hangs his head in shame. No way he should have been missing that one. Well, Ali Carter looking at this red on the left hand side of the table to the left corner. It's one of those when you're 47 points behind. If he takes it on, he's got to get it. If he doesn't get this, for me, he loses a frame.
One.
But he did get it. Brave shot. Well played.
Ali Carter had a sniff in the first frame to pinch it. Obviously missed this first colour he got,
5.
but this is another, well, half a chance, isn't it? Green and blue, red on the side cushion.
$6.
Yes, in the first frame when Joe Perry was in first, made a break of 54. Missed what looked, or was nearly frame ball. Ali didn't take advantage and then he cleared it with 62. So you forget about the mistake. But believe me, you don't forget about it if it costs you the frame. And that's what Ali will be trying to do here now, really punish him for that mistake. It It's an easy red he missed.
Clever little shot that, just using the red to slow the cue ball down and push it towards the corner. Where the red is near the middle pocket on the cushion, you'd like to get rid of the red below the pink, because the pink's the easier ball to move that red into play. It's not easy from the black, so ideally you would like to get onto a baulk colour next to try and get on that red next to the pink if you can.
11.
Because it gives him a lot more room to get that cannon from pink or black. He's having a look at the red and he's just trying to work out how high. There he is, you see, just trying to look how high he needs to come up. I'd rather play the cannon off the pink, John, wouldn't you, if you could, for that red tight on the cushion?
Well, I think he's got to be on it perfect. Has he run too far? Can he get to the potting angle on the red? Referee will be having a close look at this one.
Well, he's playing the run through, which means he's going to have the half ball black to try and get into the red, but the blue's in the way for me, so I don't know how he's going to get to that red now.
16.
I don't know whether he can create an angle from the black where the blue is. Yeah, it was all fair. Referee Aaron Williams keeping his beady eye on the situation there.
Well, if you can't get the cannon, it's a real power run through to try and get to the red near the baulk cushion. Well, maybe he had a thought of a double in mind, but the double's not on now, so he'd just be playing
23.
off the red, you would have thought, trying to get the cue ball behind the black, and the red safe on the baulk cushion. Well, he's not made a good job of that.
Aricard to 23.
As it happened, he's had a little bit of a result. He's left the red near the left corner straight. If it had been a half ball pot, he'd have almost handed the frame to Joe Perry. Don't know what he was thinking about there. Now normally, just looking at what Hawkeye is saying, if that red was right over the pocket, you could play cushion first and play the pot, but Joe Perry's not even considering it.
This will just be a container, white near the baulk line, red hopefully safe. He's got the white near the baulk line, but is the red gone safe? Not really.
It needs to stop. Well, he can pot the brown. Whether he can get position on the last red, it's a tough one because he's very close to the brown. Can he get enough top spin? Or will he just make certain the brown and then play a safety? Well, I think he got down there thinking about the snooker. But why not pot the brown? Well, decided to play the deep screw and played it well, but this red is tricky. The further away you are from it, the more difficult it is.
Yes, where the red is now, I don't know whether you'll think of playing for the green off this red, and that would make a little bit easier to get onto the yellow, because green's going to be tough to get onto. You'll be playing this at pace to make sure the red clears the pocket. Needs a bit of help, and he's got a bit of help. He's had a result there.
Aricard to 5.
Yeah, it's always looked to me, the further away you were from this red, because as you suggested, Willie, to get position on the colour you had to play it with that extra bit of pace, and that made the pot eminently missable.
first glance, this safety is not absolutely straightforward, because he doesn't want the red to cannon into the green, and obviously he'd like to leave the white on the baulk cushion, but he's got to miss the green with the red. Well, it's just, I mean, if that red had kissed the green full ball, he'd have been in trouble there. Joe misjudged it, but it's his turn to get away with it slightly. But the fact that he was some 19 points in front, well, they've not been at all wanting to bring the green into play.
Well, it just flicked past the brown. If it had caught the brown full, then this red would have been potable. This frame could hinge on this red. This looked pretty good. Got a good line there of the green and the pink, and the flick off the black has helped. This is a tough snooker. This is a tough one. Normally, you'd think about, well, you'd come off the top cushion where the blue is, but you can't do that here. He's playing the swerve. Oh, just missed the pink. It was a good shot. Where's the red going? Where's the red going? Now, I'm trying to see from how his body language whether he's covered this red. He has. Joe Perry can't pot it.
Just enough room to get in behind the back of the red. He's got to be careful though. The white could go in off here, so he's playing him off the cushion to hit the red from behind. Now just be careful with the white here. Oh, the in-off was always going to be close. Joe is big favourite here purely because of the proximity of the blue and the black to the cushion. Ali Carter has a chance to bring one or maybe both into play here. He'd love to be able to flick off the black and bring the blue into play as well, but he'd be just happy to get one of them in play. This was an excellent swerve. How it missed the pink, I don't know. Played it really well. This is a key shot. Well, he's got neither of them safe. He played the cannon into the black, missed it, but he's got a good cue ball.
He's got the most important ball safe, Willie. The red. There may just be an edge sticking out here, but only an edge. A coat of paint. That was a good hit. Nothing wrong with his eyesight.
Exactly, yeah. And the fact that he knew if he caught it just right, he was pushing on the cushion. That was an excellent safety shot. As I said, with the blue and black being saved, Joe Perry, big favourite for this frame. Bit of value in playing the cross double here, because he'll be on the yellow if it goes in. The red will come near the black if it doesn't. Yeah, that's good. Like that shot.
Yes, and likely as not, he'll be a snooker. Another swerve, this time in between the green and the pink. Just missed it on the way up, but caught it on the way back.
Came very close to the black here when playing the swerve, and it just swerved and then just flicked the red and the black virtually at the same time. Would have been a foul shot if it had been at the same time, but obviously red first.
Oh, that was a poor shot, and if he's not left his red, he's been very fortunate. That was a poor safety, that, from Ali.
Yes, any sort of colour, yellow and green would be enough, so doesn't have to do too much with the cue ball here. like to win on the pink in the middle, but the black's their second choice.
He couldn't have finished much better on the black.
The black puts him 27 in front. The yellow to leave Ali Carter already in a little bit of trouble in this match, 2-0 behind.
Thirteen.
Ali Carter looking at the table, deciding whether to come back.
On the frame.
And he's conceded, so Joe Perry in the first frame made 54.62. In the second frame, he's made 48, scoring well, and he leads by 2 frames to 0. Joe has very quickly found the speed of the table, and this is why John mentioned at the opening frame how important it is to keep your opponent off the table. I mean, Ali Carter's only got 30 points so far. That's great. That's a good safety shot. Well, I say good safety shot. I didn't realise this red had come off the cushion. This is potable.
One.
Just pulled up enough. He has the angle on the brown to play for loose reds, and sometimes they play to go into the bunch below the pink, but I think where the balls are at the minute there's no need. Pink and black in play.
Yeah, he could play to get in that circle there. That would give him a red that if he potted he could then... Oh, he's a bit low. He's a bit low for that red, and the pink is covering the intended red. He had quite a margin of error there.
Yeah, for somebody of Joe's... Sorry, John, I'm going to say for somebody of Joe's class, they shouldn't be misjudging the shot by that far.
Yeah, you could say it was a good foot over to the right of the table, more to the middle. He'd have had a red to the left corner. Finished up with a tough one. show you what Hawkeye would have played, and this is what Joe Perry played, but he just didn't get through it. He got too much stun into it. He got a lot closer to the middle pocket. Hawkeye, that's what he played, and look at the angle he'd have had, just to stun that red in and bring the black into play. That's what Joe Perry was hoping for. I hope Hawkeye never enters the World Snooker Championship, will he? They'll all be in trouble.
This is a tester when you're 2-0 behind. You never settle here at the Crucible till you get a frame on the board in a match. Is that a result? He's ended up with a great safety.
As you say, it was a pressure shot. It wouldn't have been if he'd have thought that was going to be the result, should he missed it. He had a result there, as you say. Hit the cue ball, full ball, knocked it tight on the baulk cushion. Lucky lad.
I think Ali was quite bemused for a while. He was so disappointed having missed the red, and then all of a sudden he didn't realise what the kiss had done until he played the shot, and then realised and almost had to apologise. Sorry, mate. Do you think he meant it?
Foul.
Well, he played a very poor safety shot in the last frame, which eventually cost him. And that was nothing like the shot he played. He's hit this red so thin. He was trying to get on the left-hand side of the black, believe it or not. Shouldn't have been anywhere near the black. He's not settled yet.
One.
It appears to be taking the same pattern as the first session of the match today between Hendry and O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan, favourite to win the match, was 3-0 behind. Ali Carter, favourite to win the match, could be very shortly going 3-0 behind. At this moment in time, Ali Carter would already love to get out of this session 4-4.
6. Yeah, see that. 7.
Got to make a choice here. You could play round the back of the loose red and get onto the one that's to the left of the black spot, or you could just play and get onto, try and finish in the middle of the two reds, but I don't think you can get there because of the loose red. So play round the back of the loose red, but he's got to make sure the black, when it goes on its own spot, doesn't snooker him.
$14. $15.
Not the best angle. This is one of those where you don't mind screwing into them, because if it could come back on the two reds on the cushion. Hit them well.
22.
We always say on that shot, don't we, never screw into the pack, John, but where those two reds were on the back cushion, that was one time you didn't mind playing the screw into the pack.
Yeah, because coming back to the top cushion, it was a given opportunity, but I thought red to the left middle, but right corner. Oh, very confidently played. Never any doubt, never thought about anything else but that red, and couldn't have played it better.
Why does he look so good up to 50 and then all of a sudden goes through a little shaky bit and then
30.
Looks great again in the next 50?
Yeah, what you've been saying has happened the first two frames. Interesting to see what happens this, because this is an excellent opportunity. It really is. You couldn't wish for
31.
much better than this to get a frame winning contribution. He's already 40 points in the lead.
38.
I think he played for the red in the left middle, the one that's just below the paint, but he's not straight enough on it. And this is his second choice. But if he's got a nice angle, he can run through for the blue.
39.
Well, he didn't get a nice angle on the blue, but there's two reds either side of the pink in open play that he can play on, so he doesn't have to do much with the cue ball.
Yes, as John mentioned, not the best angle, so it's one of those you either run through 3 inches or screw back 3 inches, depending on what red you want to play for. With him being right-handed, he feels like he'd rather play the ball into the more open pocket of the two. He's perfect on this. He can run through plain ball on and off the cushion for the black. Now this is the point in frames
44.
where Joe Perry's just got to take his time now, and he should win the frame at this visit.
45.
Ali Carter's hardly had his hand on the table at all yet.
$52. $53.
62 in front, the black 69, one more red to secure a frame virtually at his first visit, or his first scoring visit, and that's what he's got to do to have a chance of winning the World Championship.
So there you see it, 69 ahead, 75 remaining. Pot the
60.
red goes 70 ahead with only 67 remaining. In goes the red. He's not good on the black, but the red was the important thing. Right in the heart of the pocket. That just means it's doubtful that Ali
68.
Carter will come back to the table. Played a very poor safety shot that left Joe Perry this chance. But fair play to Joe, he took the
Joe Perry.
advantage
68.
of it. And Ali puts his hand up, concedes. Joe Perry, certainly the quicker out of the blocks. They've had 3 frames, he's won them all.
Off the mark, and he'd like to get this one before the mid-session interval.
Well, let's see if he can do that. Frame 4 underway.
Yes, you wouldn't say it was a must, would you, in a match to when you're playing over 33 frames, but as Dennis has just mentioned, he needs to get off the mark quite quickly, because if you keep building your opponent's confidence by missing balls, playing poor safety, it all of a sudden becomes almost a little mountain to climb to get a frame on the board. We've all been there when the opponent's knocking everything in. He's just got to stop the rot somehow. Ali Carter, as yet, has not really had his hand on the table. His highest break is only 23, but he's not really had a chance. Joe Perry's already made 54, 62, 48, 68. Dominated play.
Don't necessarily agree with that shot. Okay, he's thinking, I'll flip the red away and bring the black into play. But what has he done? He's put no pressure on his opponent, Joe Perry. He's got an easy flick off the reds, back up the table. I know Ali's thinking, you know, if I've got the black available in both corners, if I get a chance. But he's not done anything to put his opponent under pressure here.
Yeah, it's a great point, isn't it? Because you get chances normally by playing great safety. Joe Perry's now played the first safety shot. Ali Carter's going to have to reply. And if he doesn't, he's freed the black.
Oh, absolutely. I think he's not panicking, but he just wants things to happen, and sometimes you just got to be a bit more patient.
Depends on what angle he has on this red to whether he'd like to be able to run through for the black, but it's obviously not got that angle, so as you can see there, he's queuing low on it, playing for blue or bought colour. Oh dear. That's all you need when you're 3-0 behind.
Yes. Ali didn't play the best of safety shots once again, left the cue ball near the bought line, but this is cruel. It's cruel. We've seen it happen so many times. And the black is available into both corner pockets, thanks to Mr. Carter.
Virtually 25 years ago, Thorburn did exactly that and made 147, didn't he? Obviously, no chance of that here, but it could be a frame-winning fluke. And they hurt just as much as 147s if you lose the frame from them.
Well, that's a poor shot. And the reason it's a poor shot, he had no need to play the cannon. He could have held the cue ball. Little stun run through. Unless you could guarantee making full ball contact with the second red, you don't play the cannon.
Green ball.
Missed a chance there.
Joe Perry 6.
Well, dear me, what's the old saying? It never rains but it pours.
Ali Carter's having a little... He's a lovely guy, Ali, he really is, but, you know, in some ways, sometimes you can bring it on yourself, really, because he's just not played good safety, but this, once again, was a great bit of fortune. He'd have probably been playing a similar shot though, if the white's tight on the cushion, he may have still had to play on and off the cushion, but he wants to rest into these touching ball unless he's playing a thin clip back into baulk. This could go wrong. Needs to rest into them tight. There's a couple of reds that are potable, and that's one that I think in the middle is left.
Well, there's one, I don't think you can get to it in the middle. I assume there's nothing goes to the right corner, but the red on the extreme left will certainly go to the left corner pocket. It may go to the left middle. Looks like left middle.
Very first frame, when he was 54 points in front, missed virtually the same red to the top jaw, so he's just not... Sometimes you have shots, John, don't you, till you settle down. You could hit them thick on one side and thin on the other. Sometimes your eyes kind of play tricks on you for a little while, so he's just not sussed the left-hand side of the table yet. He's hitting everything thick down that side. Ali Carter may try and force the issue here. The fact that the green's off its spots means you can get down there behind the green. It's the worst venue in the world until you settle in any match.
Well, any venue's bad when you haven't got a frame on the board. Just having a good look at the pack here. I don't know if there is a plant. Can't see one. Can't see anything that would tempt me.
Yes, it's a good safety, this. Joe's definitely got the better weight of cue ball at the moment. And we keep going back to saying about table time, even though it looks like it's virtually 50-50 on table time. Every time Ali comes to the table, he seems to be able to dig himself out of situations. There's another example. When things are not going right, those baulk colours seem to be twice as big as your opponent's when he's playing them when things are going well. Yeah, it's amazing how hard it is to get by those baulk colours sometimes. Of course, when you hit them, it makes the safety a lot easier.
Well, this is the shot he played before, and as I say, you don't play the cannon if you don't think. And he just play a little stun, a little drag shot, and he could have held the cue ball and not gone anywhere near that red. It was a mistake, and well, he went for that red. I assume he thought the only red he could leave was the one he played, but when you miss it by that distance, you think you're going to leave it, but can't see anything easy to get Ali started here. Possibly the red just below the pink, but that's a dangerous shot to take on.
I don't think there's an easy safety shot on John, is there, here, unless he can cut this one in and with a bit of check side.
Well, using the rest, you wouldn't fancy this, would you? Well, that's a marvellous shot. Using the rest and playing with that much right-hand side. Top draw.
Yellow and green available. Seems to have more angle on the yellow. I think we mentioned that the red just below the pink would pot. That's the one he'd love to get on with this shot. And that's not the best white he's ever played. Not settled at all yet. There may still be one on, but from there it's going to be tough. That was a very good pot, and unluckily I don't think it is on black or pink. He's shaking his head because he feels that, you know, he played the pot and he must have thought he was bound to be on pink or black.
Yellow. Thank you. Yellow ball.
Yes, I don't blame him. Trying to get this cue ball tight against the baulk cushion. Might try and put it behind the green.
Ali card to 4.
The only thing that always used to put you off playing that shot, Willie, wasn't it? That you know you're knocking the yellow safe, and if you get a good safety, you want all the colours on the spot so you can capitalise on any error from your opponent. But he's not found the baulk cushion. And so far this evening, Joe Perry's safety has been of the highest order, and that's another pretty good one.
Just about to say that's a little better, but he's left a shot on. I don't think there's enough room to get in between the black and reds if he plays the pot. That's why he's looking at a different shot. The last time he played a long pot in this pocket, he missed it by quite some way, so I think he'll be looking for a safety. Not guarantee to hit it thin enough and get around the back of those 4 reds. That's why I played the other way around. But the red, that's the first poor safety. I say poor safety, not left an easy starter. That's all you need in that situation when your opponent plays a bad safety. You just need an easy starter to get you going.
Yeah, and he had 2 balls to avoid in the middle of the table, coming around off the 2 cushions, the pink and the blue. It was a big ask to do that, but Ali just can't get comfortable here. This is a big shot. And it's a terrific shot. He won't mind, well, he wouldn't like the red to go in, but it doesn't matter, it's just 2. If it had stayed over the pocket, that red could have given him another red and a black. Well, what an excellent shot, and played the cannon superbly. Now this is as good a chance as he's had this evening.
9. 10.
Just overrun again on the position. This is the problem with it, isn't it? When you've not had the table time, you know, you've got to find it almost immediately when you get these opportunities, because you can't keep running out of position. Makes the next shot more difficult.
I think you can play this slow with drag, but those 3 reds on the left, he doesn't want the cue ball to finish near those to leave himself hampered queuing. So here's white running loose, so he wants to be on the 2 reds. You see, that's the reds I was always worried about. Well, he's handy there because he's gone just pushed by them. He could have left himself in all sorts of trouble there if he'd have rested on those 3 reds.
Oh, if he'd have nestled on one, he'd have been hampered. He wouldn't have had this one to the left middle, but he has, and he should be able to get good position on the blue this time. Didn't have anything to do with the cue ball. So you just need close control. The better position you've got on the ball, the easier it is to get on the next one. Used to say with the great breaks, you know, oh, I could have potted that, but it's the cue ball control which is so important.
21.
Make every shot so anyone thinks he could pot it.
22.
He's blessed with a beautiful cue action, Ali Carter, and gets through the ball extremely well. He's one of those players that generates plenty of spin when needed. You'd have to say he's a more powerful cueist than Joe Perry, and he has to play the power shots. You'd fancy of the 2 players, Ali to play them slightly better. In the safety department, you'd fancy Joe Perry. So these are 2 slightly different match
30.
players. I think all those 3 reds will pot into the opposite pocket to the one he's playing the black, so sometime he can drop behind those if he wants to. I don't know whether he's going to play it now. There's probably a bit of value in playing it now, to be honest. Decided to play for the loose one though, and the only reason I said there's value because he had a perfect angle to play it there. He may not get that angle again.
37. 38.
Probably the key shot to the frame now. Roll this red into
43.
the middle, and if he gets the perfect angle on the blue, he can drop to the side cushion that you were inferring before. If you can't just drop behind these reds, give yourself an angle on the blue so at least you can play the cannon and bring them into play. It all depends on what angle he leaves off this red on the blue.
44.
This is so similar to the match this afternoon. O'Sullivan hardly potted a ball in the first 3 frames, did he? Won the 4th frame, and Carter's doing exactly the same thing.
49.
There you see how, going back to the black 3 or 4 shots ago when he had the absolute perfect angle to float it and drop on all 3 and guarantee to get on 1, he had to play the blue at pace, and that's why he lost position.
Yeah, what makes this a little bit easier though, he's 47 points in front. He only needs the red. The red obviously goes to the right corner. It's the decision. Do you play safe? And he is doing. He's going to try and protect that lead. Didn't think it was worth
Only card to 49.
taking the risky frame ball red. It's his decision.
It was always a big ball, the yellow. He'd have preferred it if he was going to kiss it, to knock it right over the hole, but Ali Carter only needs 1 ball, so he won't be playing position on a colour here, he'll just be playing it as a shot to nothing. What he wouldn't give for a frame on the board now. It's never easy. Excellent. And does he have the angle to kiss the 2 reds out? That was a great pot. No, it's not a natural, so you can see him there getting down and wanting to cue down on it a little bit. This is the angle he's got. From that angle, you'd think he'd get very close to the kiss. Maybe he just needs to widen it a little bit.
Yeah, well, that's what you're saying, isn't it? Well, he's not striking down. If he had his hand on the table, it wouldn't be a problem. Didn't feel as though he could get the cannon, but maybe he feels he can see enough of the left hand of the 2 reds to play it in his left corner.
6.
Like you, Willie, I never thought about this as an option. No.
Joe
He
Perry
hit
6.
it too thick, so he could see plenty of it. Hung his head. I said too thick, I meant too thin, but the point was he could hit enough of the red to pot it, and now just this red required. Well, Ali, that red for his first frame of the match. Another chance gone.
.41 points in it with the pink out of play. He doesn't really want to pot the blue, so he could have afforded 1 pink, so he really needs 2 blacks from this situation. I think he got a kick there. I think he got a kick there, to be honest. Let's have a little look at this again and see if we can detect a kick. It certainly seemed to me to push to the jaw. It's one of those, it wasn't a bouncing kick, I think it was just one of those that pushed to the jaw straight the way Joe's cue came out, and as if he got a bad contact.
Yeah, I think you could see from Joe's reaction that the red seemed to go straight on. Still can't get that red. And the longer it takes, the more anxious he'll become.
Yes, Joe looking at the scoreboard now, and as I said earlier, the blue he can only tie. Blue, black and all the colours to tie, so Don't be surprised if he doesn't play the pot. Decided to go for the tie now.
1.
Can he hit this thick enough to hold the cue ball? I'm not sure he can. Well, Joe Perry, having missed 2 or 3 shots, is virtually assured Ali Carter of the first frame. He's conceded at the table. Ali Carter will be delighted with that. Without playing at all well, Ali Carter's got a frame on the board, but he still trails 3 frames to 1.
Not a bad break off. Ali's safety to me hasn't been as good as he would like so far this evening. You've got to find that baulk cushion if you're going to force a mistake from your opponent. And there's another bad one. Caught the blue in the middle of the table. It's not good enough. And Joe Perry going down. I think I know who they're supporting, Willie.
Yes, obviously Ali Carter fans, and I'll be hoping their young man gets his potting boots on, because at the minute he's been kept off the table. Has to be said, he's quite fortunate to have got a frame on the board, because Joe Perry had 3 or 4 chances in frame 4, didn't take them.
There's a bird's eye view. Well, it was a dangerous pot, no guarantee of position, and even at this early stage you just seem to get that feeling of a little bit of anxiety creeping in. I know it's 4 sessions, 3 sessions of 8 and then 1 of 9, making up the 33. But you're always looking for a good start, and if you don't get it, you can get anxious.
Joe's okay there, because he can get through to between 2 reds, which means you can still see the centre of the cue ball. That would have been tough if it had been actually right over the top of one of them.
9.
Doesn't look like he's got the right angle on the black to screw back and leave the red in the same pocket. So he may have to go on and off the cushion. Here you can see the angle is going to go on off the cushion and try and make something happen. It's hard to explain this, Joe. John, probably you can explain it better than I could. Joe's one of those players that doesn't seem to generate speed when he's going into a pack. Why would that be?
Well, he doesn't really get through the ball. He's a bit of a jabber, really, and I always feel with that type of shot that the cue ball's always going to swing a little bit wider of the mark. You know, we see a Ronnie O'Sullivan play it, and he just delivers the cue, and he doesn't stop at the cue ball, he goes right through it. And Joel's more of a puncher.
You say a lot of times on commentary is going into the pack with a dead white, and that was that situation there. The white never did anything when it hit them. And when you see players play screw shots, sometimes you see the white go twice into the bunts because they're getting through the cue ball so well. I suppose he's a little unlucky to finish with no shot at all.
No, well, he sorted out a plant here. There's a little gap between the two. There's no safety in the balk end. No, not a plant for me. You can't leave this on the balk cushion because of that red that's already there. So he feels by just leaving it in the near the middle pocket, you won't leave anything on. But if Ali can get past the brown, it's an easy safety shot off that red on the balk cushion.
Yeah, the cue ball would have only been good if it had been tight on the cushion. This is an easy safety shot for Ali now. Joe's usually very proficient in the safety department, and that wasn't one of his best. Well, you see, for me, Joe's been a bit fortunate there, but the shot he played previous to leave Ali in control of the safety was disappointing, and he forced the error there, Ali Carter, but as you can see, the opening red, he can only really get onto the pink by coming on and off the cushion. That's the first poor safety he's played for some time. Just needs to get his hand on the table nicely and make a sizable break. He hasn't made one yet. Yeah, even though Ali's got a frame on the board, his highest break is only just over 20. So you don't get confident until you can make a 50 or 60 break and get your cue arm going. And this is a good chance really to get a sizable lead in this frame. Not a frame with an opportunity where the balls are yet, but when the black goes on its spot, it shouldn't be too far away. You can see 40 or 50 coming here.
Now he's on this red to the right corner, the one closest to the cue ball, and he'd play it if he could just drop it in and play for the black in the same pocket. And then, as you say, Willie, well, he must be perfect. This will give him a chance to get the black on the spot. This is a good chance now.
He has a choice here. He can finish low on the black and play the cannon into the three reds, or he can play high on the black and get onto any one of the three reds that are below the black.
23.
So he's played high, but he's gone, perhaps, in fairness, a little bit too high. He may have to play the cannon onto the red that's farthest away from the black here and just push it along, and that can go wrong. That's really a very poor shot he played there, because he can't get the kiss on the middle red.
Position on the black to play those, to get those three reds into open positions, but as you say, Willie, he just went wrong and it's worked out perfectly now. It was a good chance a few shots ago. It's a better one now.
It's amazing sometimes when you play a bad shot and you're forced into playing an aggressive shot, how it can turn out nicely for you. This is already his highest break of this match so far. He'd now like to make it one of frame-winning proportion.
31.
This time in potting the black, just play a little cannon on the red just immediately below the black. And played it nicely. Okay, you feel as though sometimes by playing that you
38.
lose that red, you knock it a little bit closer to the cushion, so it makes it a little bit awkward, but he's other reds to play for. The one below
39.
the pink is definitely on for the same pocket as he's potting the black.
This is a little bit more like the Alicata we've been watching all week, isn't it? Getting in, looking very fluent around the table. His confidence has obviously
46.
grown since he got that opening frame on the board in frame 4.
47.
Yes, he didn't win that frame in style, but just to get that frame on the scoreboard, it's amazing how it just settles you and you feel part of the match. So, well, you wouldn't want to play for one of these reds along the top cushion, but I think he's perfect on the black to play for one of them. When they're just off the cushion, you've got to be very accurate. But if you've got the right potting angle and you don't have to do
54.
a lot of work with a cue ball, it can just concentrate on the pot, makes it so much more easy.
$55.
We were both just about to say he's missed that.
I know. Caught the near jaw. Any more pace, and it wouldn't have gone in.
Oh, I'll tell you one thing, John, I don't think it would have gone in on the two-table situations. It just shows you how moving a table and putting a new cloth on again, it's made them a little bit easier off the near jaw. That would have been missed earlier on in the week.
Well, you get that when you get a new cloth on the cushions. You get a little bit of a slide. Unfortunately, it doesn't last for long. There you see it. 46 ahead.
63.
54 ahead. He'll need one more red. He's just checking the scoreboard at the moment. There's a possible 59 left on the table.
And in his first real scoring chance, he's already made the highest break of the match so far, eclipsing Joe Perry's 62 in the opening frame. But where does that one red come from now?
70.
Joe Perry still in this frame because I can't see him playing a pot here.
Yeah, I agree with you. Joe Perry sat there and he led 3-0. Okay, he's still got a glimmer of hope in this frame, but it looks as though his lead is going to be reduced to just one.
Alicata 70.
just looking at the situation of the balls, even if Joe Perry did get a chance, it'd be a big ask to win the frame in one visit, so that'll take the pressure off Ali. And that's a pretty good safety shot. Left a chance of this pot, and Joe may take it on. He's in a position where you feel as though you've got to try and make things happen, and if he potted this, he would be on the black. Well, the pink's come to his rescue. I think Ali Carter was coming to the table thinking, well, he's missed the red, this is my chance to get frame ball. But there you see, the pink has saved Joe Perry for that one. There's this one down the side cushion, this for the frame. But it's not there. So there's a slim chance for Joe Perry here. As I say, he's got the red over the pocket, so close. Had to play it, it was frame ball, but disappointing.
Yes, I agree, he had to play it, and it made it a lot easier, the fact that those two reds were tight on the side cushion. Now he can play a cannon on one of those two reds now if he wants to. So that's the one that JV's putting up for us there. That's the one I think he'll play. Not played at any pace though, John. I'd have definitely been playing to bring that into play. Not saying it's the wrong shot, but...
8.
Yeah, he's played to just get on the one red, but he'll roll it in. The black won't be easy because he'll be almost tight against the side cushion.
9.
Well, where he'd left the cue ball, that was an excellent pot, and looking at the scoreboard, he's still 38 behind. Ideally, he'd like to get up
16.
for the black again, which makes it slightly easier to bring that red into play. From the blue's not too bad if you finish in between the yellow and the blue, the half ball pot to come on and off the cushion, but it's not a great angle to get it into play. But at least he's back in the frame
17.
now. Now, what kind of angle has he got on the blue? I think I'd be tempted to risk the double, John, wouldn't you? Because that would really hurt Ali Carter. If you can't kiss it out, leave the chance of a double.
Well, as you say, a lot depends on the angle. Well, he's got enough angle to play that. Ooh, just didn't catch it full enough. A little bit fuller, and he developed that red for the middle
22.
pocket. But as you say, Willie, he's right back in the frame and a good safety. This would be a steal, wouldn't it?
Joe Perry,
Nah, that
22.
wasn't a good shot. I know it's safe, but when you're that close to the cue ball, you're entitled to get that white ball behind the black.
This is a clever shot. He was in a little bit of trouble there. That's a good safety shot.
Yeah, he played it well. I just felt that Joe Perry should have put him in a little bit more difficulty than that. But well played, Ali. But he would be really hurt if he lost this frame. It's only now that you think that Joe Perry could win it. All the colours are in the open. If Joe Perry could force a mistake and pop this last red at some time. we'd have a new favourite, and that's an excellent shot. That is first class. That could swing it in his favour.
Yes, I like the way Joe came round and looked at the angle there to make sure it was on with the pink and black to avoid. The pink being off its spot made it okay. Ali's looking at cushion first, and because the white's so close, even though he can see the red, white's so close to the cushion, he could over-swerve this if he plays it from behind.
Well, yes, I don't think this is a certainty to get right in behind this red, which you need to do. No, I never fancied that. And he's lucky he's not left anything easier than this.
I think he can play it slowly though. He can play it into this pocket, and he's got both blue and pink he can cover with. He'd be unlucky to leave the red on if he played for choice of blue and pink in the same pocket as this red. But he's looking at the other pocket. I'm surprised if he doesn't play in the right hand corner, and he's not doing. So this red can be left on. Bound to be on blue, pink or black should he pot it. For me, he put all his eggs in one basket there. Played it the other way around, he could have got the choice of shot.
Well, so near and yet so far. If that red goes in, he'd have stole the frame. He never looked like winning. But not now. Ali Carter just needs the red.
Set. Nine.
This will be a very relieved Ali Carter here. Because this is
12.
A frame that nearly got away.
16.
We were saying that what would really settle you down is winning a frame comfortably, and with a frame winning visit,
21.
it looked as though he'd done that. Anyway, eventually he got over the line, but it was a mistake by Joe Perry and not his play. But he'll be happy. Lost the first three, won the next two.
Ali Carter will be feeling the better of the two at the moment, because all of a sudden he's got himself back in the match. He's on the up. Joe Perry needs to now try and gain control again, and he had half a chance in the last frame to pinch it.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. I think if it was a boxing match and we're marking it on points, I think we'd give every round to Joe Perry at the moment, wouldn't we? But the frame score says there's only one in it.
And that's Joe's first real poor safety shot. And Ali Carter, as we know, when he gets his potting boots on, he does knock these in very well. And there's the reason you can't afford to play bad safety shots against this young man when he gets his eye in. One of the best potters in the game, and as we've already seen this week, not too bad in the scoring department.
Well, he played a fuller cannon, and because he didn't get it, he slipped out of position. You see the red he was playing for in this corner pocket, he just can't get to it. Just was looking for a fuller contact. Maybe push that red towards the left corner and still be on the one to the right corner. This is a thinnish cut. Too thin. Much too thin. Okay, he might not have left anything, but when you're in around the black and you only get 8 points, you feel you've missed out.
Good shot from Joe, just to contain that. He knew that he would not gain any advantage with that safety, but as he was snookered, he knows he's got a possibility of playing a better safety shot at his next visit. Well, he did have a look at that, but as you can see by the cue ball, he probably felt that it was definitely worth taking on at pace, and this table, to me, appears a little slower than the ones yesterday, because as that cue ball was rolling in and out of balk as you see the plant disappear, I honestly thought that cue ball was come well out of the balk. It hasn't, so he's just tickling him behind the brown. A lot of players would risk the cut on the brown.
Joe Perry 1.
A bad mistake, misjudged. Have a look at the angle he's got on this red. It's virtually straight, and he'd like to get top side of the blue, but that's why he's had to play a run on and off the cushion. I don't quite think he's got there. It just shows you that we talk about fractions. You see the frustration in Joe's face there. He just couldn't quite get top side of the blue.
Yeah, but he could have done. He could have played it with a trace, and of course, well, as you see, dead straight. But if he'd have played it with a trace on the left-hand side, then he'd have made certain he was on the blue. But, you know, sometimes playing a bit of side and you feel as though you could miss the pot, played it plain ball, I suppose you could say, got what he deserved. Okay, he may have put a trace on, he needed a bit more. He needed to be certain he was going to get the angle on the blue. But it's easier said than done. There's a lot of pressure out there, even at this early stage.
Joe Perry 1.
Well, that's a clever shot. Purposely played the double kiss off the red. Well thought out. Well, believe it or not, he went for the pot, and if he's got away with that, he's been very, very fortunate. Well, from a very bright start, he's starting to struggle a bit now, Will.
Yes, I think he'd have been frustrated at the interval, knowing that he's missed a chance to go 4-0 in front. Half a chance to go to win the first frame after the interval, so he'd be sitting there thinking, well, I could be 5-0, and all of a sudden now it's 3-2, and you do get edgy, and so many things can go through your mind, and the key thing, which unfortunately I wasn't able to do, is put aside in your mind what has gone before. Joe seems to be just, you can see his demeanour has changed somewhat in the last half an hour of this match. But he had a result of results to get away with it, didn't he?
Absolutely. Once he'd careered into the reds, he was in time to leave Ali something. I don't know who was looking up in the gallery there, but he was thinking, how unlucky was I? But that's the nature of any ball game. One of the balls sometimes, but these best of 33s, you hope they're going to even out.
Touching ball.
Oh, well, that's a bonus for Ali. Touching ball. He may be able to find a path for the cue. Well, he can certainly find a path for the cue ball back to the baulk end and put a little bit of pressure on his opponent's safety.
Yes, at first glance, not great, but he can play in between the blue and the red off 2 cushions, but with the green being off its spot, he's not got a hiding ball.
He didn't fancy it, did he? There was a path back to baulk, but he didn't fancy it. Seems to have left an easy path back to baulk for his opponent, though. So, just to contain his safety, but leaving himself open here for the counter punch.
And this is the point that John was making. You're putting yourself in trouble by playing the negative safety. Ali Carter's now faced with a tough one. Got to be careful of the double kiss here if he's playing the up and down safety. There's the double kiss. There it was.
1.
It's not a bad chance, this. The black spot is in the open, so if he ever gets down to the black, he can get it on its spot. It'll stay at this end of the table. He's okay on the brown. Probably play for the red in the middle of the table, you would have thought. Well, he's seen one that goes just below the pink into the right corner.
5.
The blue's in a potable position. It's a good chance, this.
Six.
Yes, turned out to be the ideal red to get on, because now pink is in play as well, and he'll be disappointed if he doesn't score enough to win the frame at this visit now. It's just that one shot, as John mentioned, there's plenty of room to get onto the black, but how does he get the black in play at the moment? It's not a chance for a few shots to get onto the black, so he'll have to work around the pink and blue for 3 or 4 reds maybe, and then the black should slowly but surely come into an open position.
$13. $18. $19. $24. $25.
I think he's just got past the straight on the blue, which means he can get virtually anywhere he wants from this blue. And you can see how difficult it is at the minute with the black being in the position it is. It's just hard to get onto a red to get onto the black. There's the angle he's got, so he can go on and off the cushion.
Yeah, you think anywhere in that circle may give him a choice of 3 reds. There's also the option of the red just below the pink, but as I say, near the circle, choice of 3 reds. Oh, well, he didn't play that well, did he? He's played a stun run through there and never got through the ball.
30.
I'm just wondering whether it could have turned out in his favour, John. I know it's a bad shot, but if he gets his shot with the rest right and kisses into the red to the left, he's on choice of pink or black. So once again, a bad shot can sometimes create the opening that's not really there before it.
It's worrying, though. It was a little snatch, that, wasn't it, the blue?
And there it is, you see. There's no way he could have got onto the black there, because he wouldn't have played for the red like that to get on the black. He's got there by accident and could have now given him a chance to win the frame at one visit.
$38. $39. $45.
Now Getting down to the
46.
nitty-gritty, I think the two reds above the black will pot in the right-hand corner, so he'd be very disappointed now not to win the frame. He's 40 in front. Pink 46, so two more reds and colours, and he's got the two-frame gap again.
$52. $53.
I'm pretty sure that both these reds will pot into the right-hand corner. Well, maybe not, just the top one. So Joe, sometimes, well, I'm just looking, how does he avoid the kiss on the red? Plain ball, just got the miss, so he's okay. Only the top red pots, the applause shows you that frame is
50.
over. And now we can concentrate on getting the first century in this first semi-final at the World Championship.
61.
And that's always going to be a milestone.
$68. $69.
We can have a good look at whether this
76.
clings to the cushion here when he plays this slowly. Yeah, never moved at all, did it?
77.
Never moved a fraction. Good shot.
Now this will be a test of his cue power if he's straight on the black.
$84.
Good shot he'll need here on the yellow to get good position on the green.
Well, he missed the yellow by a long way, but that's what he had to do. Has it gone in yet? No, it hasn't. That's what he needed to do, get a bit of confidence back by winning a frame at one visit. He did that. The break of 84, the highest break of the match so far. Takes him two clear again at 4-2.
Two more frames to be played in this first session of a possible 33. Well, that was close. Always knew he was going round the back of the black and the red and returning to the balk end, but it'd have been nice if it had gone in. Couldn't have been any closer.
Well, he's tempted with the pot, but there's no way in the world he can get the cue ball back in the ball. So if he plays the pot, he's going to have to hope, if he kisses into reds, he can get onto a colour. You see, the angle he's got there, he can't cue with check side, he's too near the cushion. So he's going to have to hope he gets a good kiss here.
And that he gets the pot. This is dangerous. Well, he's got two, I think. Yes, one went in the right middle, so two, but no colour.
That's been a help, really, John, isn't it? That red's gone in the middle, because if it say stuck over the middle, playing safe in the balk area, not only did he have to cover the one on the left, he'd have had to cover one in the middle, so it's done him a favour, that. But good pot.
Yellow ball.
Sometimes you have to do things like that when you've got no option. was an excellent pot. And with that kick, unfortunately for him, not an excellent safety.
2.
The kick made the angle come off and kiss the brown. It wouldn't have kissed the brown without the kick.
That was a terrific red, and as we saw, one went in the middle, and then he got the heavy contact with his safety, and he wasn't happy. And the reason being, he's left his red on. Oh, that's a nice flick, and he's come absolutely, well, I thought he was going to say inch perfect on the blue, but he just stopped. But he's not bad. He's got a red in the open on the left hand side of the table, doesn't have to do a lot with the cue ball. This is how frustrating you can be with this game, and that's all because he got the heavy contacts on the yellow. But for that, he felt he'd have left Joe Perry in a lot of trouble. Joe Perry there cleverly deciding to hold the blue spot, and the blue now will go in the highest available, which is the black spot.
6.
So when he pots this red, he can play for the blue again.
7.
That's a clever little shot. Bringing the red into play as well to mean that he's got the angle now. Ideally would love to get the black on the spot, but the pink's available in the middle, and that may then go on the black spot, so that shot could have turned out
13.
perfect for Joe Perry. If the pink spot's covered, he's still in control of this. Yeah, there's obviously no way the pink have gone its own spot. If he can pot another 2 or 3 reds without moving that red off the pink spot, the reason I'm saying that is because
20.
if he pots the red on the pink spot, the pink will then be tied up, and with the black out of commission, he won't win the frame at one visit. I think I'd almost risk playing a cannon here, but he's going to play for the loose red. That could be a downfall. Let's just see what happens in a couple of shots.
$26. 27.
'Well, he's played for this red that
32.
we feel is occupying the pink spot. So it's imperative off this red he gets a good angle on blue or pink to try and cannon into the cluster. He's choosing the blue.
33.
And got the perfect angle. Doesn't have to go into these too hard. Just a nice pace. There's only 5 balls in the cluster, so doesn't have to be unlucky not to be on one. And that looks absolutely inch perfect to me.
38. 39. 45.
Well, Joe seems to have found a bit of form again, doesn't he? He'd been kept off the table for a little while, and suddenly 84 in the last frame, and
46.
he's in a position where he can win the frame at this visit in this. Overscrewed that slightly though, a little bit to do with the cue ball. Wouldn't be beyond the realms to play a little cannon on the red on the pink spot here, just to slow the white down. And that's the one, that's very well played.
Yes, and it doesn't look as though Ali Carter's going to get back to the
51.
table, and he will be absolutely seething underneath. He went for
52.
a very dangerous red, and got it. Didn't finish on a colour. And then he had a straightforward safety where he felt as though he'd put Joe Perry in trouble. This was it. He's just
58.
trying to get behind the brown or the green or the black. The heavy contact, meaning the cue ball went over, kissed the brown, left the red on, and this is the result. It's a cruel game.
$65. $66.
.84 break in the last frame.
72.
And carried it on in this. 70 points in front, only 43 left. He's not too bothered about that. Ali Carter won't come to the table, yes, you can see. So Ali Carter, not having the best run of the balls, Joe Perry extends his lead. There's one frame to go, and he leads 5-2. This Hawkeye's a hell of a player.
Last frame of this session, as my colleague JV mentioned, Ali Carter, if he can get out 5-3, will be delighted. Joe Perry will feel that 6-2 would maybe be a fairer sort of scoreline. I've not been impressed with the safety in this match from both players. I think that's the third or fourth time we've seen the blue being contacted with a safety exchange. Joe Perry usually very proficient in the safety department, and that's why he's such a hard player to beat. Tonight he's 5-2 in front, and his safety has not quite been up to scratch.
One.
Well, he didn't control the cue ball very well. He may just have a slight angle on the blue to force the cue ball back to this end of the table. No, just about. Have to be digging in there with a little bit of right hand side. I'd have liked to have got into it a little bit more, but I think well, I don't know, he's walking round, so he's not on the red he played on. See players do that, just walk round, that's their way of just counting to 10. It's just a safety.
There's nothing more frustrating than that, John. When you've got a target of 3 or 4 feet you can finish in, and you finish short, he's entitled to be disappointed.
I've just felt tonight that he's desperate to get his hand on the table and start scoring, and it's just not happened, and sometimes the balls run that way. I'll be a little bit more patient, I think. And I think that's what you were alluding to early on when you said Joe Perry you felt was the better match player. I think Joe Perry can be a little bit more patient than Ali.
Yeah, I think Joe's definitely probably knows his way around the table a little bit than Ali. I think Ali's probably the better cueist and would make something out of nothing a little bit easier than Joe. But it's a hard match to call. They made Ali Carter favourite. I thought it was even as easy too. I couldn't pick a winner. I was very impressed with Joe Perry's match play against Steve Maguire. The only thing I was worried about is that he should have won the match a lot easier than he did, because he lost 6 frames from 50 in front.
Yeah, I thought it was hard to call. I just felt that Ali Carter, after that magnificent maximum break, would have come here on a real high. And maybe he needs to settle into this match and doesn't have to prove anything to anybody now. He's in the semi-final, he's got a maximum break to his name. Just relax and let it happen.
Another good bit of ball run from Joe there, to hold his hand up to say sorry. Sometimes that winds you up, doesn't it, when the player keeps holding your hand up? You think, oh yeah, you're really pleased and I'm really angry. Why hold your hand up in the first place?
I think the worst one is when they roll their hand up and clear up. Sorry, I fluked that, and then you don't get another shot.
It's tough to get safe off this red with it being tight on the cushion. You may just have to leave the white right in the jaws of this pocket, almost as if you're going to play the in-off at billiards. I thought for one moment he nearly got the double kiss. That would have been disaster.
Well, it looks as though he can just get past the black and cut this red back to the left corner. It's a thin one. He's played it too thin. Well, that is another little bit of a good fortune. But this red's on. I thought for one moment, certain Ali did from his position where he's sitting, that the brown may have covered this red, but he can just get through to it. Can't do a lot with the cue ball because he's tight on the baulk cushion, but the important thing is pot the red.
Great pot that under pressure. It took Ali an eternity to come out of his seat, because like you mentioned, John, I think he thought he was going to be snookered, but tight on the cushion. 5-2 behind. Played that well. Pink pots, blue pots, 4 or 5 loose reds. There's a half a chance he could get out of this session 5-3, and that would be a bonus.
Well, he's not got the angle on this red to the right corner to play for the black. I don't think the pink now is available, so he's got a little bit of work to do with the cue ball. Not a lot, but because the blue doesn't go to the left middle, it appears. Just got to adjust the line and length of this positional shot correctly. And couldn't have played it better.
8.
Good shot.
Fourteen.
That's come off the cushion a little bit squarer than he thought. He played to be
90.
dead straight on this red. And when he removes this red, you can see the little cluster of reds are not in an ideal position. So it's one of those, if he does play low on the black, he's going to have to hit one of these
20.
half ball. Any full ball contact, he can only hope to be on one in the middle pocket. And I think he's just bounced too high to make it a guaranteed. There's the angle. If he went in the pack here, it would be very difficult to get on one. He'd probably play for the loose one. It wasn't a great pack as he opened them. Did pretty well to get the white in open play.
27.
Yeah, and fair play to him. He played with a lot of left-hand side there, so when he did come back to the cushion, he was going back up the table with the side, and sometimes a lot of players are not too keen to play that with side. And he's got a red to the left corner, and he deserves it.
A nicer angle this time, and if he wants to win the frame at one visit, he may decide to flick into them again. The middle of the three at the back of the pack, the middle one, that would push reds on both middle pockets. Seems to be queuing a little bit lower than I thought, but that's probably the red he's going to try and hit. Yeah, hit them. That's the problem when you play a screw, that the white springs off them. When you see O'Sullivan play that
35.
shot, he just play that shot, but he did stunned up into those, so when the white were hit, it would have gone through them. There you see screwing back. Just lost position slightly.
Yeah, it's one of those situations now, and he's opened the reds up. Just one good pot and positional shot, and the frame's at his mercy. If you miss the red, they're there for your opponent. But in it goes. In it goes. He's controlled the cue ball nicely. He should win the frame now.
Yeah, he's just lost the white just a little bit, so once again may have to play the cannon on the way on the red just below the pink spot, that is, just to hold the cue ball. He'd be very unlucky if he does play the cannon. He doesn't finish on at least 3 reds. Well, he concentrated so much on the kiss. What on earth is he doing there? It's so easy to play the cannon on the reds below the pink spot, and he tried to play a cannon on a red that, well, there was no need for that one. Wouldn't be a nice night's sleep, John, would it, if Joe Perry cleared up from here?
It wouldn't. He'd done everything right. But it shows you how it can happen. I was in the commentary box here, looking down at the table. I saw him get the perfect cannon, and even I didn't bother looking at the blue. I just took the blue as a formality. It was going to go in. And unfortunately,
9.
that's why he missed it. He thought it was a formality. And nothing ever is at this game.
$15. $16.
Anything but straight on yellow and green can get him right up to the business end of the table. He's perfect on the yellow. This is one of those situations where you play for choice of red. You're just on and off the cushion. In between pink and blue spot, you've got choice of all sorts of reds. As long as you don't hit it 100 miles an hour, it needs it to pull up. It has pulled up. I think this table is definitely slower than when we're on a 2-table situation.
$19.
Yes, new cloth again on this table. That's twice now we've had new cloths. Perfect playing conditions,
25.
but they do vary. Oh, it's wide. It's wide.
Joe Perry, 25.
I just get the feeling, well, if it's this tense in the first session, what's it going to be like if it stays this close in the final session? Both players are just feeling it out there at the moment. As I say, big match for both of them. And the occasion just at the moment, just getting the better of both of them.
He was able to play that as a shot to nothing with the green being where it was. He knew he could get a good white because it wasn't a 10 out of 10 red, that. So 18 points in front. That red could have been missed. He needs this green and the 2 loose reds with sizable colours, preferably the black, and it would mean that he can win the frame without worrying about the difficult red.
Four.
21 points the lead. These 2 reds, 2 blacks. We'll put in 37 ahead with only 35 remaining. And it shouldn't be a problem now. In fact, after this black, red and the pink will do to get to the snooker's required stage.
You'd normally go to your hotel room this evening having lost a session 5-3 and be very disappointed.
13.
I think Ali will be delighted. He hasn't really played anything like we know he can, and somehow he's only lost by 2 frames. It could have been 4 quite easily.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there, though, Will. He'd be disappointed with the way he's
19.
played. I think you're looking for a good performance, and he hasn't produced one.
So Ali Carter's icebreaker in this frame has
19.
only been 36, but I'm sure it'll be enough to go 2 frames behind after the first session at 5-3. Got to be a little bit careful here, of course, Joe. Ali, because he's only 36 in front, and Joe Perry knows his way around when it comes to snookers. We saw Stephen Hendry win a frame early on in the tournament, needing 2 snookers. The yellow's in a good place for snookers. The black's now in a good place for snookers. But Ali's played an excellent safety shot there. Excellent shot.
Well, that was a nice controlled hit. But here's the chance for Ali to put this frame to bed by potting this last red.
Not a great chance. He may take the risk getting in behind the yellow, but this is not easy. He has took the risk. It wasn't easy to get in behind that yellow from there, and didn't want to push it on the cushion, which he has. So that yellow now is not a good option for snookers. It was a few moments ago. Ali's second chance at a long red at distance to seal the frame. Well, that's a lot better for Carter. We know now the result overnight is going to be 5-3 to Perry, and Ali Carter, I honestly think, would be more pleased than Joe Perry. Obviously, you'd like to take a lead into the finals at any session, but Ali Carter has just been hanging on by his fingertips today. Joe Perry already has his waistcoat undone. Joe Perry, the better player this evening. He goes into the second session against Ali Carter from Essex, leading by 5 frames to 3. Still all to play for. Well, that's the end of play for this evening, ladies and gents. 10 o'clock in the morning. Stephen Hendry and Ronnie O'Sullivan. One not to be missed on Interactive.